Hi, my name is Nayer Slava. I am a student of Universidad Continental, and this is for a conversation class. I'm going to talk about migration from the city to the countryside. Well, the content is going to be introduction, my experience, a little about OXAPAMPA, and conclusions. To start, migration, like we talked in the first class, is the movement of people from one place to another. This can happen within the same country, which is called internal migration, or between two different countries, known as international migration. Migration is more than just changing where you live. It often involves adapting to a new culture or new customs, and sometimes even developing a different sense of identity. The most common type of migration is from rural areas to cities, because people usually move in search of better job and opportunities and education and access to services. However, in recent years, there has also been a growing trend of people moving from cities to rural areas. Migration can be temporary or permanent, and it can happen because by choice or because people are forced to move. The main reasons for migration are usually economic, social, or political, and also environmental. Now I would like to talk about my own experience with migration because it's kind of new. About 2 months ago, I moved from Lima, a big city, to Oxapampa, a rural district located in the high jungle region of Pasco. There were two main reasons from this decision. First, life in Lima has become very stressful. The heavy traffic, the pollution, the constant noise, and also there is no safety. And that what was affecting my life and my family. Actually, I don't think it only affects my life and my family. I think it affects all of us. And the second reason was the cost of living. In Oxapampa, housing is much more affordable than in Lima. In addition, my son's school cost a lot less than in Lima because education in Lima is very, very expensive, and actually the level of education is so-so. And overall, we were looking for a quiet environment for our son and a better balance between our expenses and our quality of life. Well, before talking about more that my experience, I think is kind of important to talk about a little about Oxapampa. Although Oxapampa is still part of Peru, many things remain the same. We celebrate the same national holidays, such in an Independence Day of July 28th, and we speak Spanish. However, Peru is a multicultural country, and each region has its own identity. Oxapampa is a great example of this diversity. Actually, it has a unique history because combines the tradition of Ganesha and Ashanika people with the influence of Austro-German settlers who began arriving in the region in 1858. One thing that really caught my attention was the history of the settlers. When we hear the word colonization, we often think of wars and violence and weapons or conflict. However, something that surprised me was arriving at the main square of Chontabamba and seeing monuments dedicated to the settlers. And instead of soldiers, the statues that showed people grazing animals, working with wood, milking cows, and it was a very peaceful image, and it was quite different from what I usually associate with stories of colonization. And OXAPAMPA is a cattle and coffee growing province. Well, main differences that I have experienced or that I notice is, well, people are more relaxed. I mean, they are very confident. You can go to a restaurant, go to the bathroom and leave your phone. Nothing is going to happen. When you are with the chief of Lima, it's like you keep your things, but actually here is very calm. There is almost no traffic, which is very different from Lima. The transportation, there is cars, but there is no combis or buses. The transportation, the main transportation is in motorcycle. Actually, in a lot of provinces in Peru, the transportation are motorcycle. Well, there are local business instead of big chains. There is no one Starbucks, Kentucky. There is nothing like that. But there is not much cultural scene. Well, some conclusions that we can see there are pros and cons depending on your perspective. For example, some people would prefer to have a Starbucks in the town square, but I prefer supporting local businesses. Other people might enjoy the peace and quiet, yet still prefer the pace of city life. That say, there are still many things that could be developed, such as small theaters or independent cinemas, which would provide cultural benefits for the city. Thank you very much. I'm kind of quick. I was rushing because before I record and my video was like 10 minutes. So I hope this is gonna be okay. Thank you very much.